Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Very excited to be joined by a guy I met in 2014, and his coach loved him. Talked about this is the kind of guy that you put behind glass and you don't open until game day. He hurts teammates not because he's a jerk, but because he practices like he plays. One of the finest guys. I wish all of you could get to know the man because he's a wonderful guy. I'm blessed to not only cover him, but I call him my buddy. Now, if I don't call him Spills, Max Crosby's going to kill me. So, welcome, Spills, the number one free agent out there. This middle linebacker is a must for the Raiders, Robert Spillane. Robert, how are you, bud?
Hey, Hondo, I really appreciate you having me on today. Thanks for the great introduction. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, we do go way back, and it's funny that we're still, crossing paths every year.
I'll never forget. I mean, because you know how PJ is, and he grabbed me and he's like, because he had one of those coffees. Remember the local coffee shop had a coffee named after him. And he grabbed me and he goes, see that guy? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I got to introduce you. You just keep him behind bars until game day. I, I loved that about you. Now, before we get into the interview, I got to ask, just because I do consider you a friend, how are Shelby and Nina?
Shelby and Nina are amazing. Shelby is also 5 months pregnant right now with our second child's on the way, and
Are
we
you kidding me? I didn't know about that.
yeah, so we had a little surprise for you. Nina just turned 7 months, and we have another one due June 8th, another baby girl. So we're kind of on top of the world right now, spending time with both our families in Chicago for the week. And it's nice to be home. It's nice to see family, and we're
Oh,
just so
that's
grateful.
awesome.
Yeah, so much
I
good
don't blame
going on.
Yeah. You know, in the interest of fair disclosure to listeners, I know your parents. Boy, I love them. Your mom is the life of a party. She could make everybody at a funeral probably drink margaritas and dance. Your mom is so awesome. I love your mom. And your dad is the quintessential dad. He wants to talk ball. When then you look at what Shelby did. Shelby came into your life and she really completed you. I,
Hmm.
I mean, you are a wonderful man, and you know I loved you. You're my buddy, but Shelby brought an element to you that's really what a relationship's supposed to be. Do you ever stop, Robert, and just take football aside and just look at how incredibly blessed you are to have the family you do?
Every single day, I try to wake up with that gratitude and understanding because I am so very lucky. I get to do what I love playing football, but not only that, I'm around really high end people and people that I want to spend my life with, people who I want to pour my love into. And Shelby is just the perfect example of that. Somebody who completes me, somebody who's my better half, who's my peace. When there's all the chaos in the NFL football season, I go home, I spend time with her, and it's like everything's at peace. Life is good. So, um, yeah,
You know what
very,
I love
very
about
thankful.
Shelby? I'll tell you what I love about Shelby, and I think this is a great compliment to you because you had a great mom, so you knew what to
Hmm.
pick. I mean, your mom's a rock star. Love that. I love both your parents, but your mom is just awesome.
Hmm.
But what I love about Shelby is if you told her tomorrow, I don't want to play football, I just want to go work at Lowe's and be a lumber manager. She's not married to the superstar. She's
Hmm.
married to Robert Spillane, and that's really hard in this world to find that when you're a successful person. Do you think I'm representing her right?
Thank you so much, without a doubt. And she says that to me, and I'm like, "Are you crazy? I love playing football. I'm gonna be doing this until I can't. I'm gonna play as long as I possibly can." So she totally supports that as well, and she would support me. She said if I was a teacher, if I was a high school coach, or if I was an NFL superstar. So she's along for the ride wherever it takes us, and she's in for it.
Now, before we get talk ball, and we're going to talk ball, I got to ask you this question. I've talked to you about this private, but never publicly.
Hmm.
what is it like? I mean, you're a superstar NFL Mike linebacker, the number one free agent out there. The Raiders got to sign you. The Mike, you're the quarterback of the defense, and you're only the second best football player in your family. Your grandpa won the Heisman in '53. What is that like? I mean, you can't buy a break here.
I live under my grandfather's legacy proudly. Got to wear the 41 and picked number 41 because he wore 41 with the Steelers back in the day. Wore number 14 with Notre Dame and number 34 at Fenwick High School where I went to school. So I've always been living under his legacy and just trying to add to the family legacy of it all. You know, I have 50 first cousins. They get together every weekend in Chicago and pack these bars filled, the Raider bars in Chicago filled. And yeah, it just adds to the legacy. They wear the Johnny Latner jerseys to those events too, and you see Spillane and Latner jerseys right next to each other. So it's really special to me to be playing in
That
his
is really
legacy.
cool. Yeah, you're blessed. That's one of the things that I've always said, Robert. I like to surround myself with good people,
Hmm.
and that's something I've always loved and appreciated about you. Is you're one of the good guys.
Mm.
Let's turn to ball for a minute. Obviously, you're a free agent, but you still love the Raiders. Your heart's there. Your teammates are there. Your brothers are there. I'm just curious. What were your thoughts on the Pete Carroll hire?
I think it's great. A guy who's won Super Bowls in the league, who's done it the right way, who's found a knack in working with players and the organization in cahoots. And everything that I've heard about Pete Carroll has been of the highest regards. So I'm really excited to get back to Vegas here soon and meet with him and have conversations with him shortly. So
Awesome. All right, I want to talk to you about a guy that I have great fondness for, like I do you, and that's PG, Patrick Graham. To me, that is the biggest recruiting job Pete Carroll has to do is somehow get Patrick Graham to stay in the building. But you are his eyes and ears on the field. He doesn't just like you, he genuinely loves you. You two are very close. And for fans who maybe don't get to see, I mean, you talk about how good Patrick Graham is. You talk about the fact he held the defense with so many injuries together, yet you guys still perform so well. Can you take the fans inside the meeting rooms? What is it that makes Patrick Graham so elite?
his love for the game. He is not a faker. When he puts in the work, he's a Yale educated, very bright, smart young man who works 18 hours a day. I know that's not even physically possible, but when he says he's putting in the work, he puts in the work, which obviously garners respect from me and every teammate that we have. So it's not by mistake that he is so detail oriented, so clear and concise with his messaging. I love Patrick Graham. I know you said he loves me. I love Patrick Graham. He's one of the reasons I came out to Vegas, helped recruit me to come play for him in Vegas originally, and we've only been able to build upon our relationship. So I'm excited and hope to get to work with him here shortly in the next coming year. But if not, obviously that's the goal. I love PG. I would love to play for him again. So that's the
I
plan.
know you would, and I know he'd love to have you. All right, I got to tell you, I heard something about you. You are the eyes and ears of Patrick Graham, but you two's personality is different, and you channel Robbie Leonard on the field. You may be Patrick Graham's eyes and ears, but you're Robbie Leonard Jr. Come on now, you got to admit that was funny, and I got
I
that from one of your
love Robbie
teammates.
Leonard too, and Robbie Leonard comes up to me every game day. He's like, "Man, I wish I could be you. Like if I could play linebacker like you, like he always says he wishes he had the ability that I had to be playing." So that's definitely my
Awesome.
guy. Another guy who's filled with passion and work ethic, who does it the right way. So love that guy as well.
Want to ask you about the lost art of tackling. And in the NFL, but you see it in college and in high school, guys go for the big hit, but players bounce off. You don't see old school wrap up hit drive tackling the way you used to, but when you play like you could play in the 50s or you could play with a leather helmet. You're an old school tackler. Once you get your mitts on guys, Robert, they don't get away from you. Can you talk about the lost art of tackling and how you mastered it when most of your generation struggles with it?
Yeah, there's so many things that go into being a great tackler, and I don't even look at myself as a great tackler yet. I'm still trying to perfect the craft, so I'm on this constant journey of learning and growing as well. One of my favorite tackling coaches ever has been AP, and he just says, "Get the motherfucker on the ground," and that's how. I'm sorry if you have to blur that or what. Get the guy on the ground, and that resonated with me. He said, "Do what you got to do to get him on the ground." So yeah, I love how AP says it so pointedly, and it's just
He has a
that
way with words, doesn't he?
he has a way with words. Get the dude on the ground, and it's that
Hey,
simple. Whether you got to scratch and claw, you got to go underneath somebody, you got to go around somebody, you got to go through somebody. Get the ball carrier on the ground, and that's kind of what I live by as a middle linebacker.
us upper Midwest guys, me being from Michigan, you being from Chicago, we get that. That
Mhm.
resonates with us. We understand it.
Mhm.
Talk to you about an area of your game that fans maybe don't get to see. I do. I see it every day. Plus, I know you and I know your teammates, and that's your leadership ability. You know, a guy with no followers is just somebody on a walk. Your teammates love you. They don't like you, they love you. Even the guys that you've had to get into them. I had one of your teammates one time, and I don't want to mention him because I don't want people to think I'm
Mhm.
picking on him, who said to me that you ripped him so hard and you told him you're better than this. If you're going to fail out of this league, then fail out being your best. But if you do your best, you won't.
Mhm.
Robert, that is rare. Now, I know your parents, so I know where you got it. But will you talk about your leadership? Because when people sign somebody like a Robert Spillane, you're not just getting a football player, you're getting a leader as well. And in the NFL, there's so few that you're worth your weight in gold. Would you discuss that, please?
For sure. And for me to be able to have the voice that I do with my teammates, I need to establish a relationship and have that one-on-one communication throughout the off season, throughout the OTAs, and really get to know people and get to understand what makes them tick. If you don't know what your teammates are going through, you're never going to be able to get through to them. So I like to know people on the personal level, know their family members, know what people are going through. And that gives me the right to say here, this is what I think you need to be doing going forward. My teammates know I want absolutely nothing from them besides hard work, and I want everything for them and their families and their future kids or their kids. And I tell them that I don't need anything from you. I'm your teammate. I just want your hard work and passion and love for the game. And then we can work on anything else from there. You can work on footwork. You can work on hand placement. You can work on weight room activities. But you're never going to be able to get through to the guy unless he trusts you and loves you and understands that you only want what's best for him. So I try to get to know my teammates, love my teammates. I have a built-in respect for anyone that walks in the door in the NFL because I always say you didn't get here by accident. So it's an honor to be in the room, and it's an honor to be somebody that guys look to. Now guys look at me, Rob, you're going into year 7. We expect you to be on point all the time. So I hold myself in that regard, and I know my teammates appreciate seeing me show up every day with that type of energy.
I said something about you on a national show the other day, and you and I are close enough. You can say, Hondo, you're full of crap.
Hmm.
But I talked about the thing that's really unique about you and Max is you've been in the league a few years now, but
Hmm.
you still aren't playing your best football.
Hmm.
I mean, it's one thing at your age, you would usually say they're in their prime. I don't think you're in your prime yet. I don't think Max is in his prime yet. I think it says something about the two of you's work ethic, your leadership, your commitment to the game, your commitment to family and integrity. I think that's huge. Am I overvaluing you by saying you haven't reached your prime, or do you agree with me?
No, without a doubt. I've left so many plays on the table, and I hold myself to a very high standard. So every time I go back and go through these seasons and really try to break down what I want to focus on coming up here shortly in the off season, you look at it and you're like, wow, we just need to get a little bit better here, a little bit better there, and there are so many more plays to be made, and I truly believe that wholeheartedly. One of the things I need to do is catch the ball. I have 5 picks in the past 2 years. Should have been 10 very easily. So I mean, you have 10 picks in 2 seasons, and people are going to be talking. I know turnovers change the game outcomes of NFL games, so that's where my focus always starts. Got to maximize turnover capabilities and um, footwork. We always work on footwork, speed, strength. So there's so much that goes into these NFL off seasons, and so much detail that I'm excited to start here shortly. Really pushing forward for growth.
I want to tell a story about you from 2022 that, excuse me, from 2023 that really told me. I mean, I already knew you, you were a friend, I loved you, I cared about you, but
Hmm.
it really showed me a part of your leadership I had not physically seen on a practice field. Practice was over. Here you are, you're the star Mike linebacker, and you're working with a couple of backup running backs. And I think you were showing them just based on, because I obviously wasn't standing there, but watching your hands, you were expressing to them how to read the linebacker. And I literally thought, here's the starting middle linebacker helping two guys who might not play. And oh, by the way, they both have now.
Hmm.
But that's leadership, isn't it? It's not, you're not just a defensive leader, you're a team leader.
I love football. I study football. I watch offense and defense clips all day, all week long, all season long. Um, I know a lot of football and I know what it should look like at many different positions. So, especially the running back position being my offensive counterpart. So, I love playing running back. I played running back in high school. I'm probably most tough or toughest on my running backs in terms of I want them to be never tackle themselves, run through contact, all that. So I love talking to guys that love ball. So there's those informal conversations that happen after practice, before practice, walking through the facility, and I just love having those open lines of communications, whether it be with backup running backs, star receivers, star tight ends, and just being able to talk ball all day long with those guys.
I want to talk to you. Obviously, you're a free agent, and there's a lot of teams that want you. I've talked about it all year. The Bills desperately would have liked to have added you, but Raiders, intelligently, by the way, weren't willing to deal you. But there are a lot of teams that want Robert Spillane. Um, I think you want to be back in Las Vegas. I think you love your brothers, you love the organization and franchise, but sometimes it's a two-way street. They're going to have to, pony up and pay you and want you as well. But as you approach free agency and you look at, there's a lot of interest in Robert Spillane around the league. I mean, you're a number one. The Raiders can't let you leave the building. When you look at this, you're the kind of guy, you don't like the drama. Hey, just give me signs so I can get back in a building working out with my brothers, wherever that is, and get this done. You're the antithesis of the normal free agent. Wants to take a tour, get wine. The only whining dining you want is, hey Shelby, I'll stop and get in and out on the way home. That's just you. Am I wrong?
Without a doubt, no. That's very true. I tend to stay away from fancy restaurants and going over the top, doing too much. I'm very excited, like you said, to figure out where I'm going to be at next season, get in the building, get to work, and move forward. So, yeah, this is a point in the year where it's like you're thinking about it every day. Do the Raiders want me back? At the end of the day, I want to be loved by my organization and by my teammates. And I know that the NFL is riddled with high quality people in all these locker rooms. So, of course, you're willing. You've been with three great teams in the past. You're not afraid to test the market. But at the end of the day, there's still so much that needs to be done with the Las Vegas Raiders. And I want to be a big part of that. I love the organization. I love the just win, baby. I love Mr. Davis. I love Max Crosby. I want to be a Raider. I feel like I'm a Raider for life. The Raider logo fits me right, and I would love to be a lifetime Raider. But obviously, we have to do what's right for my family and myself. So we'll play it out. See if they want me to come back first and foremost. So I've yet to talk to John Spytek or Coach Pete, but we'll see what happens.
I want to go back to something that really touched me as obviously met you in 2014. I love PJ, a dear friend, but it was your first, or maybe it was your second game as a Raider. And I go up to you in the locker room to talk to you after the game. And it was the first home game, and you saw somebody that had your jersey, and it wasn't a family member, and you just gotten there. And you were talking about Raider fans and just how nuts it was and how crazy they were and how much you loved them. I've told this to people. There's that movie with Mark Wahlberg with Vince Popeil, who was this guy sitting at a bar and got a chance to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you weren't a pro football player, you'd be in the black hole because you love the game. It's who you are, and you love Raider fans. Raider Nation and you have a bond. They adore you. I've got to ask. Matt Millen years ago told me there are 31 teams in the NFL where the fans think they're part of the team. But there is one team, the Raiders, where the players think the fans are part of the team. What is it about this relationship? Your mom and dad have it. You've got it. What is it about that relationship with the fan base? It's pretty amazing, Robert.
Yeah, they've welcomed me in with open arms, and when they see that I'm willing to pour my heart out on that field every single play, pour my heart into my teammates, do whatever it takes to give our team the best chances of winning, I'm willing to do it. So I'm willing to do it over and over and over again, and I'm really happy and glad that I've gotten the opportunity to be a Raider, and I hope to be a Raider for the rest of my career.
All right. Last question I've got to ask. Well, I guess I got two.
Yeah.
My buddy PJ Fleck, he's now moved on. He's gone to Minnesota. Great recruiter, great developer of talent. I've been friends with him a long time. I have so much love and respect for him, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, how much did he change your life?
Ooh, that's a great question. And PJ Fleck came into my life when I was a 17-year-old kid at Fenwick High School, a running back at Fenwick High School. He says, Rob, I think you're going to be a star NFL linebacker. I want you to come play linebacker for me. This is after my junior year. And he saw that my future in college and the NFL would be at the linebacker position. So for my senior year, I had committed to play for linebacker for him at Western Michigan, switched over to play linebacker my senior year at Fenwick High School. And the amount of energy and love PJ Fleck has poured into me as a recruit, but throughout my 3 years with the Western Michigan Broncos, uh, it's like we're family. My mom and him are still really close, text each other all the time. My dad drives up to Minnesota to watch his games. So they're like family to us. He was just out in Vegas last off season, came over to the house, had dinner with them. We love PJ and Heather, and they're like family. And very thankful that he saw that passion and energy in me and saw what I would be for him.
Now, this is the most important question I'm going to ask you. Giordano's is the best pizza in Chicago. True?
For sure. Giordano's is the top.
Oh my gosh,
So,
I love you even more. You're
yeah.
absolutely right. If you, that's what I was so glad when I moved to Vegas and found a Giordano's on the strip.
That's a win. Yeah, Giordano's is top notch, and also Shelby's favorite Chicago pizza is Giordano.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. Rob, I
yeah.
just want to say this to you. Had the privilege of knowing you for 10 years. Consider you not a good friend, a great friend. You are one of the good guys.
Mm,
And I have said this to lots of fans when they say to me, "Hey, I want to buy my kid a jersey." And, sometimes you buy a jersey about a guy and you learn a lot.
mhm.
And when they say to me, "What do you think about Robert Spillane?" I literally tell them, my kids have that jersey. And I know him personally. I mean, you, Max, Adam Butler, these are top tier men who
Mhm.
play football at the top tier. And I just want you to know, I'm glad people maybe got to know you a little bit outside of football. I would love to see you stay with the Raiders because I know that's what your heart desires. But wherever you go, I'm going to stay your friend. I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for taking time to
Yeah.
talk to us. And again,
No,
you're the number one guy. You got to get signed. This is not a question. It's got to happen. So I wish you the best, my friend.
I wish you the best as well. Thank you, Hondo. We'll be staying in touch.
And make sure you tell your mom and daddy hi for me.
I will. They'll be watching the whole interview, saying they'll know what it's out as soon as it's out. So they must follow you or something very tightly.
Yeah, they do. Thanks, bud.
Thank you. Have a good one, Hondo.